I was wiping pollen off my hood when I heard a scream, sharp, furious, the kind that twists your gut. Then came a crack. Plastic snapping. I dropped the cloth and ran barefoot down the porch steps. My heart was already climbing into my throat. A woman in a fitted jacket and oversized sunglasses stood under my security camera like she owned the place. Her hands were on it, yanking hard, twisting violently until the camera tore right off its mount. Then she slammed it into the porch pole. It shattered. For a second, I just stared. Who walks onto someone's property and destroys their security camera in broad daylight? I stepped forward, voice calm but firm. "Hey, what are you doing?" She spun around like my existence offended her. "You're spying on the HOA office," she snapped. I blinked. "This camera points at my driveway." She laughed, ugly and sharp. "Don't lie to me, you ignorant little spy." She reached for the wires again, and I moved closer. "Stop." That was the moment she snapped. She shrieked, then slapped me hard enough that my head turned. And when I looked back, she was smiling, like she wanted me to lose control. My hand moved to my coat. I pulled out my gun. Her smile didn't disappear. It got wider. Then the gun went off, and the entire neighborhood changed forever. My name's Ryan Carter. Early 30s, former security. After years of long shifts and constant tension, I wanted one thing more than money: quiet. The kind of quiet that lets your shoulders drop. That's why I bought a home in Red Fox Hills, just outside a small town in Briarstone County. I picked a property near the edge of the development on purpose. More space, less foot traffic. The neighborhood looked perfect: lawns trimmed like they were measured, mailboxes lined up like soldiers, polite smiles everywhere. Then I noticed the HOA office. It sat directly across the street from me, half hidden behind shrubs and a stone sign, like it was trying to look harmless. But it wasn't harmless. It felt like a watchtower. And the woman who ripped my camera off the porch. She ruled from there. The police arrived fast. 2 cruisers, lights flashing against the quiet trees. The moment the first officer stepped out, she rushed at them like a missile, pointing at me and yelling loud enough for the neighborhood to hear. He threatened me. He fired at me. He attacked me. Of course, she didn't mention trespassing, or the broken camera, or the slap. The neighbors stood in clusters at the edge of my yard, whispering like they were watching a wreck. The officer turned to me. "Sir, tell me what happened." I kept my hands visible. Calm, controlled. I heard something break, came down, and saw her tearing my camera off. I told her to stop. She slapped me. I fired one warning shot away from her when she kept escalating. She gasped dramatically. "He aimed at me." I didn't even look at her. "If I aimed at her," I said quietly, "I wouldn't have missed." That sentence shifted the air. The officer glanced at the broken camera pieces scattered near the porch. He looked back at her, still perfect sunglasses, still furious confidence. "Did anyone actually see the moment the gun fired?" he asked the crowd. Silence. "We just heard it," someone admitted. "No witnesses, no easy arrest." The officer finally said, "No one is being arrested today, but you both need to stay away from each other." Karen wanted me in cuffs. Instead, she got a warning, and I could see it on her face. To her, fairness wasn't peace, it was humiliation. Before she got into her SUV, she leaned close enough for only me to hear. "This is going to end very badly for you." Then she smiled like she'd said good morning and drove off. And that was the moment I understood. This wasn't over. 2 days later, I almost convinced myself that was the peak of it. Then the HOA inspection team showed up. 3 people walked up my driveway with clipboards and phones like body cameras. No greeting, no permission, just entitlement. The leader wore an HOA polo tucked too tight into khakis. Behind him, a woman filmed immediately. A younger guy held a binder like a shield. "We're here for a routine safety inspection," the leader said. "Of what?" I asked. Your solar panel system. We received concerns. Concerns. Right. The solar system had been professionally installed and inspected by the county. Permits, paperwork. Everything clean, but the HOA didn't care about facts. They cared about control. He tried to step toward my side yard. I blocked him. No. His smile twitched. Excuse me? You're trespassing, I said calmly. Leave. The woman filming zoomed in on the solar battery housing like she was discovering a bomb. The leader stiffened. We have HOA authority. I stared at him. Over my house? Yes, he said like it was obvious. I shook my head. My property isn't under HOA authority. That stopped him for half a second, like his script glitched. Then he recovered. That's not what our records say. Our records, like the HOA, had its own version of reality. They left without touching anything, still filming and whispering about hazards, but the message was clear. Karen was retaliating. The next day she came herself. No knock. No bell. Just stepped onto my porch and waited like I was late meeting her standards. She was dressed like she was headed to court, folder in one hand, a sheet of paper in the other. She shoved it into my chest. Violation notice, she announced loudly. $2,000 fine. I unfolded it. Fire hazard. Unsafe wiring. Immediate compliance required. I stared at the paper, then at her. This can't be real. Oh, it's real, she said sweetly. And it's only the beginning if you keep resisting the HOA. Resisting. Like I was a criminal for wanting control over my own property. My system is permitted, I said. It passed county inspection. She shrugged. HOA standards are stricter. Then she smiled behind her sunglasses and added what she really wanted. And take those cameras down. We know you're recording our office. This camera points at my driveway, I said slowly, and you destroyed the one on my porch. Karen barely blinked. That little thing? Don't be dramatic. I could feel the heat in my blood, but I didn't give her what she wanted. Because she wasn't here to hand me paper. She was here to press buttons. She leaned closer and lowered her voice. You're becoming a problem, she whispered. And problems get handled. Then she straightened, loud again. There's a mandatory HOA meeting next week. Your attendance is required. Required? I repeated. Yes, she said. We're discussing behavioral concerns, not solar panels. Me. She walked away smiling, like she'd delivered a sentence. But this time, instead of reacting, I started planning. That night I stopped being emotional and started collecting facts. I hired 2 independent solar inspectors from outside the county, people who had no connection to Karen. They checked everything: grounding, wiring, heat scan, sealed panels. Both gave the same conclusion. Client, safe, compliant, clean. They wrote official reports on letterhead. Then I started talking to neighbors. At first they were cautious, like they were scared the HOA office could hear their thoughts. But once one person spoke, the rest cracked open. Curtis told me Karen fined his sister thousands over a trash bin being visible too long. Janelle said Karen fined her twice for porch lights, too bright, then too dim. Evan and Mia said she threatened a lien over a delayed check. Karen didn't enforce rules. She used rules like weapons. Then I spoke with Mrs. Darlene Haskins, an older woman 2 houses down with calm, fearless eyes. Karen bothering you yet? She asked like it was routine. I showed her the fine. Darlene's smile wasn't amused. It was tired. She's been doing this for years, she said. Then she leaned closer. Some edge properties were never properly annexed into the HOA. My stomach tightened. What does that mean? It means, she said quietly, there's a chance she has no authority over you at all. That night I pulled county records, parcel maps, annexation filings. And I found it. My lot number wasn't included. 1 missing boundary line, 1 missing signature. My property, was never under HOA control, not legally. Not ever. I sat there staring at the screen, anger settling into something colder. This wasn't Karen being strict. This was extortion. At the HOA meeting, I didn't go in to defend myself. I went in to expose her. The room smelled like cheap coffee and anxious politeness. People sat stiff, eyes avoiding the front table where Karen sat like a queen. The moment I walked in, the room froze. Karen smiled into the microphone. "Well, look who joined us," she said brightly, "the man with the gun." A murmur spread. She kept going, voice sweet and dramatic. "We cannot have violent instability in this community." I stood up slowly. People looked like they expected yelling, but I stayed calm. "My name is Ryan Carter," I said. "I'm here because I was issued a $2,000 fine for a fake fire hazard." Karen tried to cut in. I lifted a finger. "I'm not finished." I placed the inspection reports on the table. "These are licensed, independent inspectors. My system is safe." Karen didn't even glance at them. Instead, she turned to the room and said, "He's aggressive. You can hear it in his tone." I kept going. "You came onto my porch," I said, looking directly at her, "and destroyed my security camera." Her smile tightened. "And when I told you to stop," I added calmly, "you slapped me." The room shifted. People whispered. Faces turned. Karen's confidence cracked for the first time. "That's not true," she snapped. "He's lying." But her voice sounded too fast, too sharp, like she was afraid. The meeting ended awkwardly. Karen pushed through the rest of the agenda like she was trying to hold a collapsing wall. As people filed out, Darlene brushed past me and whispered, barely moving her lips, "Don't stop." Karen didn't stop either. Violation notices started coming daily. Driveway, gravel, trash cans, unauthorized camera placement, hostile behavior. She even tried to claim my dog was a banned breed. She wasn't enforcing anything. She was punishing me. But now I didn't panic. I documented everything. Photos, envelopes, timestamps, logs. Karen thought paperwork would bury me. Instead, she was writing evidence against herself. The final blow came when she showed up at my gate again, recording me with her phone, inspectors behind her. "You can't hide forever, Ryan," she shouted. I walked out with my folder of county records. "You have no authority over my property," I said loudly. Karen laughed too fast. "Everyone is under the HOA." This time, doors opened. Curtis stepped onto his porch. Janelle came out. Evan and Mia joined. Then Darlene walked out like she'd been waiting her whole life. Karen snapped, "Go inside." But nobody moved. Curtis finally spoke. "Actually, it does involve us." Janelle said, "You fined me twice for lights." Evan said, "You threaten liens on families." Karen's voice went higher. "You're being manipulated. He's dangerous." I opened the folder and showed everything. Solar reports, broken camera photos, fake fines, county proof. Karen's face changed, not anger, fear. I looked her in the eye. "I'm taking this to court. Too many witnesses, too many eyes." She couldn't slap me this time. She stormed back to her SUV and drove off like a cornered animal. And for the first time since I moved into Red Fox Hills, I knew something. She couldn't control the story anymore. Court wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, cold, built on proof. Karen arrived late, confident, with a lawyer and board members behind her. But the moment she saw neighbors sitting there, her smile tightened. The judge asked me one question. "You're claiming the HOA has no authority over your property and has harassed you with fines. Do you have documentation?" "Yes, Your Honor. I presented county records proving my property was never annexed, independent inspections proving my system was safe, and dozens of violation notices showing escalation and harassment." Then neighbors testified, not with drama, but honesty. Trash can fines, light fines, lien threats, pattern, control, control. Abuse. Karen snapped at one point. This is outrageous. He manipulated them. The judge raised a hand. Ma'am, he said calmly, you will not interrupt. That's when Karen realized this wasn't her stage. The ruling was swift. The fine was thrown out. The HOA was ordered to reimburse my inspection costs and legal expenses. Karen was removed from her HOA position for misconduct and abuse of authority, and she was ordered to stay off my property permanently. She didn't scream, she didn't cry. She just stood there frozen, like the crown had been ripped off her head. Outside the courthouse, nobody cheered. We just stood in the sun, breathing like we hadn't been allowed to breathe in years. Curtis muttered, "It's finally over." Janelle laughed softly like she didn't trust peace yet. Darlene nodded once. Bullies only stay powerful until someone finally makes them face the truth. A week later, I sat on my porch with coffee in my hands. Briggs stretched at my feet, calm and safe. For the first time since I moved in, the quiet felt real. The HOA office was still there across the street, but the shadow was gone. Neighbors waved now, real waves. A man walked up, eyes down, and said quietly, "Thank you." And I realized something simple. Karen didn't win because she was smart. She won because she kept people separated and afraid. But the moment one person refused to stay silent, the whole illusion cracked. That slap didn't break me. It revealed her. And the gunshot everyone thought would ruin my life, it became the moment the neighborhood finally woke up. Because peace isn't something you're handed. Sometimes you have to take it back.